Hello and welcome to another video. So today we're going to have a look at what true bearings mean. So suppose I have sort of a plane that sort of goes in both directions, and I've got north and south, and of course you've got the west and you've got the east. Now a bearing is basically a direction, or let's say a true bearing. Okay, this is important to clarify here. A true bearing is a direction that's clockwise from the north. Okay, so let's say I have a direction, say it's a ship sailing ship A, and I want to give the direction in terms of a true bearing. So let's say this is at 30 degrees. So if I wanted a true bearing for A, the bearing is actually 030. Okay, let's say I have another ship here called ship B, and let's say that is at an angle of 120. The bearing of ship B is 120 degrees. Let's say I have another ship over here, that is ship C. Well, the bearing of that would be, let's say, about 210. So that is the bearing of ship C, 210 degrees. And similarly, if I have something like ship D, the bearing of that is going all the way from north. That would be, let's say, 310. So then the bearing of ship D is 310. Okay, so a true bearing is always clockwise from the north. So suppose you had something that's all the way out here, almost north, but it's at 350 degrees. Well, then 350 degrees is your bearing. Doesn't matter how close you are to the north, it's clockwise from north. So that's always the direction for true bearing. Now let's have a look at an example of what we call compass bearings. So if we have a compass bearings, so a compass bearing, well, in this case, you always start with north or south first. Okay, that's all you really need to remember when it comes to compass bearings. North or south goes first. So once again, let's bring back the example of the ships. Let's say I have ship A over here, and assuming that this way is north and it's at 30 degrees. Well, then the compass bearing of ship A is north 30 degrees west. The true bearing is 030, but the compass bearing is north 30 degrees west. Now, let's say I have ship B, and that's at, going back to the previous example, that is at 120 degrees from north. So what would be the compass bearing of ship B? Well, you don't actually refer it in terms of north anymore. We would start with south. So if we know that that's 120, we know that this angle is 60 degrees. So your compass bearing is south 60 degrees east for ship B. Now you might ask, well, why don't we say the compass bearing as north 120 degrees east? Because it makes no sense to do that, right? If you're saying north 120 degrees east, then you might as well have just said the true bearing, which is 120 degrees. So in a compass bearing, you're always going to go up to 90 degrees. If you're crossing 90 degrees, then you have to refer it either from north or from the south. So if you have to say something like north 120 degrees east, then you might as well know that you have to go from south and go 60 degrees east. Let's have a look at another example. Let's say if I've got ship C and I've got a bearing of 210. Now I'm not going to say north 210 degrees west. I'm going to say this is south 30 degrees west. Why? Because if you say 210, well, then you might as well have just said the true bearing. So when we look at industries like air traffic control, that rely on bearings and compass bearings, they'll have to communicate that in information that's precise and concise. So we want to convey as little as possible, giving the right information. So that's really what we do with compass and true bearings. Always start with north or south first, within 0 to 90 degrees, and then refer to east or west. And with true bearings, it is always in a direction clockwise from north. So I'll see you in the next video.